Hello, everyone. Just wanted to let you know that Barney passed away sometime during the night last night, and I'm absolutely heartbroken. I feel empty inside, just entirely empty. And of course, Gizmo, our other dog, he was howling through half the night. Keeps looking at the car to that Barney left in, thinking that why isn't Barney getting out? And of course, I keep looking at this doll of Barney that my niece made me for Christmas, retro Barney. I'm just having an awful time dealing with this grief, especially since his death was so sudden and so unexpected. I mean, Barney, was my favorite of of all the dogs I've ever had. He because I always wanted a dog that that kind of resembled a bloodhound, but was smaller than a bloodhound, so as to not be so intimidating. And Barney fit that description perfectly. And also, he was very much, kind of like me in terms of his mannerisms and how he behaved. He was a very, a cool, a tranquil, laid back dog, and that's probably one of the reasons why, if he was acting lethargic before, I didn't notice right away because he was always just somewhat laid back in his attitude, nonchalant in his attitude, he um, and he, whenever I would sit on the ground, he would always come and claim me, and I guess one of the reasons why Gizmo isn't as affectionate because Barney would claim me every time Gizmo would come over, and so this is just a really really awful time. I've never felt so much pain. I mean, I haven't felt so much pain ever since my grandparents died. It's really that bad, and especially because Barney was supposed to be a replacement for my for Bill, which was the previous Basset Hound that we had. And that's another thing is that none of the Basset Hounds that we've had have really lived very long. Not to the expected ages anyway of 10 to 12 years because the first Basset Hound we ever had was George. His name was George, and who kind of resembles Gizmo. And George, when George was about 8, we got we got Bill, who was technically my sister's dog because he was gotten as a present for her for graduating college. And but then it's possible that when Bill, as a puppy, when when George was playing with Bill, he hurt his back, and then he couldn't walk on his two hind legs, and we thought that he might die then, but of course he lived for another year and a half to about 9, and we saw him like there's a have some pictures of him like sliding through the snow. It's actually quite funny. But then when Bill was 7, he became lethargic and died unexpectedly. Highly suspect, that he might have had the same thing with that that Barney had, which is ketoacidosis. I think it is where it's just severe diabetes that comes on suddenly, that where the blood sugar levels get so high that they can go into diabetic coma, and it was just so sudden. And again, um, Barney was just my absolute favorite dog, and I loved him so much, and now that he's gone, I just feel empty inside. I don't know if I have the strength, the or the will, um, to get another dog again, because it's just it's difficult to get another dog if you know you're going to lose them someday, possibly in just a few years. You know, it's possible I may feel differently in a few weeks, but I'm just in so much misery right now, and it's just. And then I look at the yard, and especially since we just built a fence to keep um, for the dogs, because for the first for the first 2 years of Barney's life, he was in Gizmo's life, he was in our old house, which we had in town, which he stayed in the kitchen most of the time. But then when we came out to moved to the country in this new house, um, my mother didn't want him inside, so he spent most of the time in this enclosure area. And but then we built a fence, you know, recently just to get the dogs out so they can exercise more. And then this happened. I mean, it was completed less than a week ago. And now that this has happened, it's just the timing couldn't have been any worse. And it's just again, I just feel so empty inside, and I don't know if I'm going to have the strength or will to ride the next few days, because everything just seems so meaningless right now. And but I know that I will always cherish the memory of Barney, who was such a great dog, such a special dog, and he will always have a place in my heart and in my soul.